So yeah, thank you, Matt, for the intro.
And
Hi,
confirming
everyone.
I can see your slides. You're all good.
All right. I'm Volkan, one of the co-founders and CTO of Picos. So today I want to talk about two questions. So why I picked these questions, I did my master's degree on security metrics. So I have been working on trying to answer these questions, talking to, I don't know, like since 2009, lots of organizations, mid-size, high-end enterprises, security leaders, line managers like SOC managers, InfoSec, vulnerability management. Like we always hear about these questions, and as technology advances, we are always trying to find better ways to answer these questions. So after my master's degree, I figured out that collecting data is not enough. So I said, okay, I will keep going with my PhD, and during the PhD, I focus on running attack simulations and really creating some better answers, how effective our controls and how they're adding up value to our security program. So that takes me and my co-founders to Pico Security. Since 2013, we have been working and iterating on this two main questions. Definitely, there are many other avenues around that one too. But like today, I want to share about what's our greatest, best answer based on the advancements on AI, on the AI part. So, like the first question is, it breaches in the headlines, and I know you love it and you hate it. Like you get 4 p.m. an email from your CIO, from an executive saying that, hey, our computer hit by this ransomware. Are you ready for that? If it's gonna happen to us tomorrow, what we gonna do? So the question is really easy, but like I do, it's very hard to answer that. Like you can give an answer, but how you can back that answer, how you can prove that answer. If there is another really around that one, how you really prove that actually your answer is accurate, and really giving assurance to the board and the leadership, to sleep confident at night, B, what are the things that has to be done to really mitigate that risk if the business is not happy taking that one. So we're gonna get into that, but like few basic steps, like moving a step forward, how to answer that one, like what has been out there, like MITRE ATT&CK did a great job, like over the years time, introducing adversary emulation. So we all know that like it has like 5 steps. We do intelligence gathering. After the intelligence gathering, we deconstruct the adversary's behavior to tactic, techniques, and procedures. Then we build the sequence of the attack chain. We develop our tool set, our scripts, or we leverage what is out there in the community. And once we build that, our emulation plan, we execute it and we get the results. So it's a great process, but it takes a lot of time, particularly developing the TTPs part. So like when you get that email, the leadership needs an answer. Hey, I just ask you a simple question, like how on earth, like you're asking me to wait 4 days to get that one? And by the way, there are also maybe many fires around your desk. So you need to keep up with that and do the other jugglings around. So they don't understand it. They like, give me an answer. I already provided lots of tools and technologies around your proactive security program. So how can we do better? How we can approach this in a different manner? So one of the biggest problems is that, can we be ready for this one? Like it's impossible to prestage everything. So like we cannot be ready to every single question, because like there can be a new APT group introduced by a vendor or researcher firm. So like maybe that's the first time we face that one. And like there can be interesting new techniques that will take quite some time for us to really figure out how to emulate that one. And we can say that, oh, okay, I have my favorite CTI provider, so I get the feeds, I get the finished threat intel report, but maybe that detail, what you need to build or script that emulation plan is not there. So these are the challenges, like as Picos, our red team is facing. We have 20 red teamers. We're working around the clock to really follow the bad guys, new TTPs, other community researchers, so that we can really put our threat library, what are the new interesting techniques, that we provide for our user base. And while we are working on that, like, I guess for every organization and for us, there are the requirements. So response time is important. For example, we have a commitment to the market saying that, hey, like if a critical, we call it emerging threat, happens out there, like we have a commitment to provide that in 24 hours, like an emulation plan to be ready with one click. Our clients can, or anyone evaluating our solution can emulate that in few minutes. So we have to provide the response time, and our response time is on average 8 hours. Like I will tell how we get to there and now how we are getting further down the response time here. And the second one is the quality. Like we are working in production environments. Like if you want to do emulation, you can do in the lab, but hey, this is your EDR production policy, and that EDR production policy may not be in a lab environment, or the firewalls or the proxies you have may not be in the same digital twin in a lab environment. So you want to be sure that you want to test some of the payloads, some of your techniques in your production environment. How are you going to do that? We need to have a reliable, high quality emulation plans to be sure that you don't get false positives, or even the more tricky part is like you don't want to run a real malicious payload, so you don't want to hit your own feet, right? So these are the requirements. Like this is about AI tricks, so definitely like I will talk about how we're gonna insert it with AI. So I believe there are two paths here. What you can do is like, okay, I want to build an emulation plan. Hey, my favorite LLM. Hey, I want to build this one. Develop the payload and give me the emulation plan. And you get a file, you get a script, and you just go and run it. I like it and I hate it. The problem here is like, are we really comfortable with our prompt engineering that like we get something reliable and quality-wise bettable with the payloads we get? Like working with mid and large size enterprises, different organization types with MSSPs, like as one of the co-founder CTO, I need to really commit that what we develop should work and should not create any harm. Like we have only one chance to make a mistake, so I will not do that. So our solution is I cannot bet any LLM with their hallucination or whatever the new version is coming up there. So our solution is build your own TTPs. Like you can start with your breach attack simulation player like Picus, or you can start with Atomic Red Team kind of pre-built emulation plans, scripts you have. Then you use AI. Hey, here is the link I get. For example, it's about FIN8. Let's say, hey, break this down into what are the TTPs out there and map it to the Picus threat library, map it to Atomic Red Team, and give me the emulation plan so I can run it. So I know that by community support, by the vendor support, these are the payloads I can feel safe with manageable false positive rates or with no false positive rates, can run it and I can get the results. So and that's, we believe, how we can leverage AI with quality, with reliability, with the speed. So that's the good compromise level to really move forward. And let's say we take that path, how it's gonna look like. So you provide an APT link. Hey, like I want to look into FIN8 or I want to look at Grand Crab, you name it. Then AI will analyze the link, the PDF, document, or whatever you provide, and it will build you an emulation campaign. This is like a finished threat intel report for you. Or you get it from threat intel provider, you upload it and you said that, hey, help me to cut it down, chop it down to the TTPs. So AI can either do the finished threat intel report and chop it into TTPs, or it does all the way down to the TTPs. Then you can say that, hey, AI, like look at these TTPs, look at what I have as my catalog of emulation plans, the threat libraries or whatever you have there, and you ask a mapping. Then you get the emulation plan and you run it and you get the results. So like the promise was like, hey, we don't have 4 hours. We get that email from the leadership. we need to answer. So under 2 hours, you can run everything, get a report, and say that this is our resilience. If someone needs evidence, here's the nerdy details. But I guess this will make things happen. How it's gonna work, how we gonna make it happen is the nerdy part. I'm sure you're more interested in that one. So how it works. So we believe that it has 3 main steps. We need to do the intelligence gathering, and source discovery is an important topic, because you get a link, but you want to be sure that you're discovering, you need to get more information, because in a single link, you cannot always get whatever you need. You need maybe some different researchers, some different vendors publishing around that one about the details of that campaign. What are the tool scripts they have been using, how they call it, what they exfiltrate, how they exfiltrate. But you also want to be sure that you're focusing on the sources that are really bettable. So you have to do source scoring. You get the data extraction from reputable sources. Then you do the validation and say that, okay, that's how I see about the Fin8's latest campaign. Perfect. You feel comfortable about that. If not, you iterate that. If you're comfortable, you go to okay, I have the report now. Can you map it to MITRE TTP mappings and break down what is it's gonna look like if I want to build an emulation plan? Then in the sequencing, the attack chain part, what you do is these are the things I need to emulate and what I have as the assets for the emulation plans in my environment, my playbooks in my environment. So you map those, what you need to emulate and what you have. There can be gaps. So the AI, we expect that to flag them. But if there's no gaps, assuming the happy path, you get all the mappings and they're tied nicely one after another, and you get ready to shoot it out. So with this flow, what we initially started, I would say a year and a half ago, we said that, okay, let's start with prompt engineering. So let's build the prompt, hey, put some context, give some information, ask an output format. So we start that one, but it didn't really go really as expected, irrelevant matches or the quality was not there. So we failed at the first try. Then we said that, okay, AI was advancing in parallel, and we know that we want to do more atomic tasks provided to the AIs, LLMs. So what we did is we break it down and we moved to agentic AI, like most of you guys has been using. And we said that, okay, now we're introducing a planar agent, which is like the orchestrator. And the orchestrator will get the ask and it will push what is required to the research agent. So it will go and scrap the web about the trustworthy resources and build the finished iterative report. And there's a validation agent. Is it going off guard? Is it really going crazy, missing the marks there? And really be sure that research agent is doing what has to be done. Then it moves the data to the threat builder. So it is making things broken down into TTPs and mapped to the actions. So that was actually the second problem we had, because we have a very high quality thread library. But the problem is our red team knows it. As they work day and night, they were able to map it and work on that when they take this job manually. But for AI, we were not ready for that. What we figured out that the labels, the catalog quality, the data enrichments was not accurate, not accurate, but not enriched, not that detailed for an AI to consume that data. So I guess we spent 9 months. Our red team hates me now because they were all data popular. They populate lots of data. They put and they update a lot of data. But that is we need to do once to be sure that this mapping will gonna work. So high quality TTPs are really required if you want to really look into a finished threat intel report to map to your assets. I'm talking about your playbooks, your emulation plans, to make it happen. So that was the second hurdle we had, and we made it. So And the validation is agent also helping us, like if something goes out of like what we expect and what we have. So we learn how to monitor the agents and how to control them. And then the next thing is we said that, okay, that's perfect. And what we hear from our design partners also is that, hey, can you simulate that one? Can you populate a report and do this? So we also add new agents to make the journey smoother, faster. At the end of the day, what you're gonna get is um, providing a link about Fin8, providing a link about what you are searching for. Then you're gonna get a campaign. As you can see, like the TTPs are here. These are all Picos actions that can be simulated in an atomic way, but they're, as you can see, aligned with a campaign format, one executing after another, and it's all populated by AI. So if there were like a missing campaign, like download and execute remote shell code in memory, that will be the missing piece. So the AI will gonna say that, hey, I wasn't able to map anything there. That means that, okay, I have a missing playbook. I need to make it happen. In this case, like we are opening a ticket, our red team is taking off that. So if you are using atomic red team kind of your emulation plans, then you need to say that, okay, I need to customize this one, or I need to have better tagging, because when I manually control it, I know that it's there. So I don't want to go to a video or live demo, Murphy can be around always. So I put some screenshots how it works. So it starts like you provide the link, and what Picos is doing, like we call it Numi AI, our AI assistant. So it goes like the intelligence gathering and sourcing. So it just identified 20 sources, validated 8 sources, getting 104 intelligence indicators. And as you can see, in the markdown format, we get a finished threat intel report. Following that, deconstruction kicks in. The best thing is like you can click and you can read. If you don't like, you can iterate at that step. Second, it's just breaking down into what are the TTPs behaviors out there, what are the techniques and techniques, and you get a TTP profile for Nate. And then the next step is Numi is saying like, okay, at this point, I want to really give you, these are the attack vectors, these are the MITRE coverage. What do you want to do? You want to do like all the emulation, or you want to focus on a certain attack vector? In this case, in this example, I picked like endpoint attacks, like give me post-exploitation. If Fin8 lands to one of my endpoint systems, what it's gonna do? So, and then it just drill down into, okay, for the post-exploitation, let me look into the Picos thread library. I'm gonna match what are the actions out there, so I can build a mapping, and this is what we get. So we get like on the execution, what are the TTPs that gonna be emulated for the persistence, what Fin8 has been doing, and what we're gonna do is, and the privilege escalation is listed here. If you like it, like you want to run it, is the what AI will gonna ask, and you can say, yeah, I love it, please do it in this agent. So it goes to execution mode. So what you're gonna see is like that thread group campaign is automatically populated and start the execution. So currently there is like in progress, and we can see that one action is being simulated, it's been blocked. Second one is not blocked, and we get a report. Okay, 83% readiness in terms of prevention. Okay, like 80%, 83% of the TTPs of Fin8 campaign is being blocked. But also next question is like, maybe I cannot block everything, but can I detect it? Let's say, yeah, Numi is asking you, hey, like, do you want me to enrich it so you can see your detection effectiveness on that? Yes, sure. Then is the question is like, hey, you have in this environment CrowdStrike and Splunk. Which one you want to go with? I said Splunk or both in this demo. So what we get is like Numi will, you talk to Picos and enrich it. What you're gonna see is perfect. Like after the enrichment, I'm gonna get 100% coverage. That threat Fin8 is being logged and alerted. And if you look at almost 500 logs being generated and 5 CrowdStrike alerts, 17 Splunk alerts being created. And if you look at the log sources, I can see what are my security controls out there, and I can see what are the alerts being fired on my Splunk, on my CrowdStrike. That looks really nice. But then next question is like, is there any room for improvement? and then Numi says like, hey, if you want, I can provide some more content. Let's say your score is not 100%, like it's lower. Then you can ask Numi, hey, give me some content recommendation. Then Picos goes to its mitigation library and pull out, okay, this is the recommended rule for that. So there are some TTPs that are not being alerted in Splunk. You can look into that ingest shellcode response mitigation, which is like, this is the rule that's been recommended, and the rule query details us here, and like there's an auto deployment option in Picos, and Numi is asking that, hey, this is what I provided. You want me to deliver it, commit it, and you can say that, yeah, please deploy it. Let's say in this case, I'm looking in the happy path. Then it's been deployed, and once the deployment is done, you want to retest and to be sure that you get an alert for that. And if you said yes, then this action being retested, and you can say that you can see that it was not logged. Now it's been logged. So it's easily move you there. And do you want the report? Because if you remember, like, are we ready for FIN8? That was the link we get. So we need to give a report. Yeah, please. That is like where we are here. And you get multiple reports or multiple views. Like you can get a techie report, you can get an executive report. Let's talk about that. And I have a whole different question about that, as you may remember. So I will get into that, but you can get whatever detail you need or executive level you need for about FIN8, you can get it. And second question is how secure we are. Like, believe me, I've been helping my product management and engineering team building lots of different widgets, dashboards over the years' time. I learned something. There's not a concept like we have enough reports. Like every organization is, can I get this view? Can I get that view? So with the advancements in AI, what we decided is that we stop building reports. The reason that if we really build a meta report, help organizations to build their reports, then we don't need to build another reporting interface. And that was the approach we have to address that one. So how are we going to do that? Like, what is the expectation? Because like we can see that our users, our prospects interacting with Numi AI, we also observe what they're asking and what are the expectations. And now we see that like UI usage is now moving into the intent and the prompts, the conversations. So not everything is going like, hey, here is how I customize a widget, here is how I customize a report, but I need this one. And like 2 years ago, we introduced our first AI assistant as like a co-pilot mode. So you can ask questions, hey, what are the emerging threats? Am I ready for that? Hey, tell me how I'm ready, my readiness against my benchmark organization. So if I'm a financial organization in US, then tell me like what are the other companies are doing? Like, am I the slowest runner as the dogs are chasing us? Or how good am I compared? So you can really show that reports to the board and to executive level. So we built a lot of reports around that one, but what we said that, hey, give me one page about that scope. Hey, can you help me filter this? Oh, there are like filters here, but it didn't work that way. It's not really user-friendly, maybe those report customizations. So long story short, we moved to prompt-driven widgets. So I'm excited about that one. So that it works like that. We give a prompt saying like, hey, what do you want as a report? What kind of dashboard do you need? So it's very simple. Hey, my security score with trend indicator is what I need. Okay, then Numi is saying like, okay, this is what I understand. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna build something. And this is what you're gonna get the next minute. So we have built lots of widgets, and the next thing what we are looking into, how we can help AI to customize those widgets, putting the parameters and the visuals around that one to really populate the dashboard and help organizations to iterate that dashboard. So our initial observation is that the first outcome is great, but then they start, hey, can you customize this part and that bit? Like, I'm sure you're iterating with videos and photos. And at some point you get really mad, like, hey, how can't you understand? How you don't keep up with that? So we had similar challenges here. What we did is like, at a certain level, maybe 80%, 90%, we're gonna iterate with the AI. And when we get to a certain view, we like it, but it's not pixel perfect, then we give it to user, hey, here's your filters, and here's how you can easily customize each widget. So we are relying on what we build over the years' time, but we help organizations to bridge populating those dashboards by themselves and keep iterating to make it the perfect to be shared with the executives or the target users. So, and that was the second pressing question we have been getting. And like the second part is in early build program, I'm excited to make it GA, but the first one, we are getting a lot of good feedbacks. So these are the advancements we had, and we help users to really have a better, faster experience about that one. And like I take it, like the summary part is about like AI powered adversary emulation is really helping to streamline red team their operations. And what I shared is like a prompt engineering approach, or like a single agent didn't help for us. So we had to move to agentic AI and orchestration. You can start with open source tools to really build your adversary emulation campaigns with the model I explain here. But if you go to a premium content and you just work with a vendor that already training the agents and making things better iterated, you will get better results for sure. And like as I shared on the second part, AI powered insights visualization will replace the reports. Like the Copilot is a thing because it helps organizations to get reports faster to the point, but also the hyper customization with using the prompts to build the widgets and the dashboards is also helpful there. So I guess we are getting there, and that was my last slide. I wasn't able to catch up while presenting the here, but if you have questions after the session, I will do my best to get into Slack and addressing those parts.
Awesome.
Matt, over to
Volkan,
you.
thank you so much, man. Appreciate you taking the time to jump in here with us. We've got about a minute and a half left or so. One question I've got for you. How does the AI ensure accuracy when it's mapping adversarial behaviors to MITRE ATT&CK without hallucinations or overgeneralizations?
Oh, okay. That's a tricky one. As I explained, like one of the challenges we had, like when you have a TTP mapping of a threat intel report, you have a list of things to emulate. Then you go to Atomic Red Team and you go to Picos threat library. The problem is like you're not mapping a TTP to a TTP, because like defense evasion, when you get into that, there are like tons of different things you can do. Like you want to be very accurate. Maybe your threat intelligence report is accurate, but like, I don't know, like even the parameters, like what you ingest to your script, can also make a lot of change there. So you need to be sure that your emulation playbooks is tagged properly to be sure that AI can understand that one. Because if there's not that much tagging, if you don't have those guardrails, it can go wild, it can go crazy and come up with a random defense evasion technique, which is like, okay, like that's a defense evasion, but it didn't work that way. And like we are working with the red teamers and they always do the best thing. So they don't really like it. They push it back. Even like my own team didn't like it. So like the tagging to be sure that like those playbooks have the right quality of data is very critical to have accurate mapping. And that is like our solution to that one. I hope it will help for the question owner.